Logan Reed made the worst decision of his life on a Tuesday night, and he made it in front of his son. While a crowd stood frozen on the sidewalk, phones raised like useless shields, he sprinted toward a house that was already collapsing. Flames tore through the roof, smoke choked the street. His 7-year-old screamed from the car. Every instinct told him to stop. But Logan didn't stop. He kicked through the front door and vanished into the fire. 30 seconds later, he stumbled out carrying a woman's limp body. That was the moment everything changed. That was the moment Alara Voss entered his life and refused to leave. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. Hit that like button and stick around. You won't believe where this goes. The emergency room smelled like disinfectant and burnt cloth. Logan sat in a plastic chair with his head between his knees, coughing hard enough to taste copper. His shirt was ruined. His hands were blistered. The skin on his forearms looked like wax that had melted and reset wrong. "Dad?" He lifted his head. Ben stood 3 feet away, holding a juice box the nurse had given him. The kid's face was streaked with tears, but he wasn't crying anymore. He just looked tired, scared. "I'm okay, buddy," Logan said. His voice came out rough, scraped raw by smoke. Ben didn't move closer. "You ran into the fire." "I know." "You told me never to do that." Logan nodded slowly. "You're right. I did." "So why did you?" That was the question, wasn't it? Logan didn't have a good answer. He'd seen the flames from 2 blocks away, driving home from Ben's soccer practice. By the time they got close, a small crowd had gathered on the lawn across the street. People filming, people calling 911, people doing everything except the one thing that mattered. He'd heard the screaming. A woman's voice, faint and desperate, coming from somewhere inside the house. And Logan had looked at his son in the rearview mirror and made a choice that still didn't make sense. "I don't know," he admitted. I couldn't not do it." Ben's lips pressed together. He looked down at the juice box. "Mom would have been mad." Logan almost laughed. Almost. Yeah, she would have. His ex-wife, Jenna, had spent their entire marriage trying to convince him that recklessness wasn't the same thing as bravery. She'd left him 2 years ago, moved to Denver, and rebuilt her life with a guy who worked in finance and drove a Lexus. Logan didn't blame her. He'd never been easy to live with. A doctor appeared in the doorway, young, tired, wearing scrubs covered in someone else's blood. "Mr. Reed?" Logan stood. His legs felt like sandbags. "The woman you pulled out," the doctor said. "She's stable. 2nd-degree burns on her arms and back. Smoke inhalation, but she's breathing on her own. You got her out just in time." Logan exhaled. He hadn't realized he'd been holding his breath. "She gonna be okay?" "Looks like it." "You want to see her?" "No." The word came out too fast. Logan shook his head. No, that's okay. I'm glad she's alive." The doctor studied him for a moment, then nodded. "She asked about you." "What'd she say?" "She wanted to know your name." Logan frowned. "Why?" The doctor shrugged. "Didn't say, but she seemed pretty insistent." Whoops. 3 days later, Logan was elbow deep in a transmission rebuild when his phone rang. He wiped his hands on a rag and glanced at the screen. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "This Logan Reed?" A woman's voice, flat, professional. "Yeah, who's this?" "My name is Claire. I work for someone you recently met. She'd like to speak with you." Logan straightened. "I didn't meet anybody recently." "The fire," Claire said. "Tuesday night, ring a bell?" He went still. Around him, the garage hummed with the sound of pneumatic tools and classic rock on the radio. His boss, Mike, was arguing with a customer about brake pads. Everything felt suddenly distant. "She wants to talk to me?" Logan said slowly. "She wants to thank you. In person." "That's not necessary." "She insists." Logan rubbed the back of his neck. His burns were healing, but they still itched like hell under the bandages. "Look, I'm glad she's okay, but I don't need—" "Tomorrow, 2 o'clock. The address is 1247 Ashford Boulevard. Don't be late." The line went dead. Logan stared at his phone. Mike walked past, carrying a toolbox. "You good?" Yeah, Logan muttered. I think I just got summoned. Ashford Boulevard was the kind of street where Logan didn't belong. The buildings were glass and steel, reflecting the sky in perfect geometric patterns. The sidewalks were clean, the trees were deliberately placed. Even the people looked expensive. He parked his truck, a '98 Ford with a dented bumper and a check engine light that had been on since 2019, and walked toward the address Claire had given him. It was a high-rise, sleek, modern, the kind of place that had a doorman. The doorman looked at Logan like he was delivering pizza. I'm here to see... Logan realized he didn't know her name. Someone on the 12th floor? The doorman's expression didn't change. Name? Logan Reed. A pause. Then the doorman picked up a phone, murmured something, and hung up. 12th floor, Suite C. Logan stepped into the elevator. His reflection stared back at him from the polished steel doors. Jeans, work boots, a flannel shirt that had seen better days. He looked like he'd wandered in from a construction site, which, technically, he had. The elevator opened onto a quiet hallway. Suite C was at the end. The door was already open. A woman stood in the doorway. Not the woman from the fire. This one was older, sharper, wearing a blazer that probably cost more than Logan's rent. She looked him up and down once, then stepped aside. She's in the living room, the woman said. Go ahead. Logan walked in. The apartment was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. The furniture looked like it belonged in a museum. Everything was white or gray or some shade of beige that probably had a fancy name. And sitting on the couch, wrapped in a cashmere blanket, despite the fact that it was 70 degrees outside, was the woman he'd pulled from the fire. She looked different, cleaned up. Her hair was dark and fell past her shoulders. Her face was pale, but her eyes were sharp, green, intense, watching him like she was solving a puzzle. Logan Reed, she said. Not a question. A statement. He stopped a few feet away. That's me. Sit. It wasn't a request. Logan sat. She studied him for a long moment. Then she said, You saved my life. I guess I did. You don't seem very proud of that. Logan shrugged. I'm not looking for a medal. Her mouth twitched, almost a smile. Good. I don't give medals. Silence stretched between them. Logan shifted in his seat. The couch was uncomfortable, too firm, like it was designed to look good, not to be sat on. My name is Elara Voss, the woman said finally. I run a tech company. We develop predictive safety systems, software that analyzes building materials, environmental factors, electrical grids. The goal is to prevent fires before they start. Logan blinked. That's ironic. I'm aware. Her expression didn't change. The fire wasn't an accident. Someone tampered with the wiring in my house. I was inside when it started. I would have died if you hadn't shown up. Logan's chest tightened. You saying someone tried to kill you? I'm saying someone wanted to send a message. Elara leaned forward slightly. And you got in the way. So, what? You're warning me? I'm thanking you. She reached for something on the table beside her, an envelope. She held it out. This is for you. Logan took it. Inside was a check. He glanced at the number, blinked, then looked again. $50,000. He set the envelope down like it was on fire. I can't take this. Why not? Because I didn't pull you out for money. I know. Elara's gaze didn't waver. That's why I'm giving it to you. Logan shook his head. I don't want it. Then what do you want? Nothing. He stood. I'm glad you're okay, but I'm not looking for a payout. I'm just a guy who did what anybody would have done. Elara's eyes narrowed. No, you're not. Logan paused. Most people, Elara said quietly, don't run into burning buildings. Most people freeze. They call for help. They wait for someone else to be the hero. You didn't wait. You didn't hesitate. That's not normal. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe. Elara tilted her head. Or maybe you're the kind of person who doesn't calculate risk. You just act. Logan didn't know what to say to that, so he didn't say anything. He turned toward the door. Wait. He stopped. Elara stood. The blanket slipped from her shoulders. Underneath, she was wearing a simple black shirt. Bandages peeked out from the collar. If you won't take the money, then let me buy you dinner. Logan frowned. Why? Because I want to understand you. There's nothing to understand. I don't believe that. Alara crossed her arms. You risked your life for a stranger. That means something. I want to know what. Logan hesitated. Every instinct told him to walk out, to go home, to forget this ever happened. But something in Alara's eyes stopped him. She wasn't asking out of politeness. She was asking because she genuinely wanted to know. One dinner, Logan said finally. Alara smiled. It was small, controlled. One dinner. It. They met at a restaurant Logan had never heard of, the kind of place where the menu didn't list prices and the waiters wore ties. Alara arrived 15 minutes late, wearing a gray dress that looked effortless and probably wasn't. Logan was already halfway through a glass of water. He'd worn his cleanest jeans and a button-down shirt that didn't have grease stains. He still felt underdressed. Alara sat across from him without apologizing for being late. She ordered wine. Logan ordered a beer. So, Alara said once the waiter left, tell me about yourself. Logan snorted. That's a hell of an opening. I don't do small talk. Clearly. He took a sip of water. What do you want to know? Everything. That's a lot. Start with the basics. Job, family, why you're single. Logan raised an eyebrow. Who says I'm single? Alara didn't blink. You're not wearing a ring. You didn't mention a partner when we spoke. And the way you carry yourself, you're used to handling things alone. Logan leaned back. You're observant. It's my job. Fair enough. He exhaled. Yeah, I'm single, divorced, got a kid, Ben. He's 7. I work at a garage, fix cars, pay the bills. That's pretty much it. That's it? What else is there? Alara studied him. Most people want more. I'm not most people. No, she said softly. You're not. The waiter returned with their drinks. Logan took a long pull from his beer. Alara sipped her wine and watched him over the rim of the glass. What about you? Logan asked. You run a company. You live in a penthouse. You almost died 3 days ago. What's your story? Alara set down her glass. My story is complicated. So simplify it. She smiled faintly. I started my company 6 years ago. We develop predictive software for infrastructure safety. The idea is to use data analysis to identify weaknesses before they become disasters. Faulty wiring, structural instability, gas leaks. We've prevented 14 major incidents so far. 14, Logan repeated. That's impressive. It's not enough. Alara's expression darkened. For every incident we prevent, there are 100 we miss. The technology isn't good enough yet. The algorithms are too slow. The data sets are incomplete. People don't take the warning seriously until it's too late. Sounds frustrating. It is. She paused. That's why the fire hit me so hard. I spent 6 years trying to prevent disasters, and I couldn't even protect my own home. Logan frowned. You said someone tampered with the wiring. That's not a failure of technology. That's sabotage. I know. Alara looked down at her glass. But it still feels like failure. Why would someone want to sabotage you? Alara didn't answer right away. When she finally spoke, her voice was quieter. My company is working on a project that could change the industry. If it succeeds, it'll make a lot of existing systems obsolete. There are people who don't want that to happen. People with money. People with power. Alara met his gaze. The fire was a warning. They wanted me to know they could reach me. Logan's jaw tightened. And you're just, what, gonna keep going? What else would I do? I don't know. Move, hire security, get out before they try again? Alara's smile was cold. If I run every time someone threatens me, I'll spend my whole life running. Logan didn't have a response to that. He understood the logic. He even respected it. But it still felt reckless. You think I'm being stupid, Alara said. I think you're being brave. Logan took another sip of beer. But yeah, also maybe a little stupid. Alara laughed. It was the first real laugh he'd heard from her. You're honest. I like that. Most people don't. Most people are boring. They ordered food. The conversation drifted. Alara asked about Ben. Logan told her about soccer practice and homework battles and the ongoing war over screen time. She listened without interrupting, nodding occasionally, her expression softer than before. "You're a good father," she said eventually. Logan shrugged. "I try." "That's more than most people do." "Maybe." He hesitated. "What about you? You got family?" Alara's face went blank. "No." "None? My parents died when I was 16. Car accident. I was in the back seat. They didn't make it." She said it flatly, like she was reciting a weather report. "I've been on my own since then." Logan felt something tighten in his chest. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. It was a long time ago." Still. Alara looked at him, really looked at him. "You mean that?" "Yeah, I do." She didn't say anything for a long moment. Then she reached for her wine and took a slow sip. "You're different, Logan Reed. Different how? You don't want anything from me." Logan frowned. "Should I?" "Most people do." Alara set down her glass. "They want money, connections, access, something. But you turned down $50,000. You agreed to dinner because I asked, not because you expected something in return. That's unusual." "Maybe I'm just boring." Alara smiled. "You're a lot of things. Boring isn't one of them." They talked for 2 hours. By the time the check came, Logan had learned more about Alara than he'd expected to. She was brilliant, that much was obvious. But she was also guarded, careful, like she'd built walls around herself and didn't know how to take them down. Logan paid for his half of the meal over Alara's objections. She tried to argue. He didn't budge. Outside, the city was alive with lights and noise. Alara's driver pulled up, a black sedan with tinted windows. She turned to Logan. "Thank you," she said. "For dinner, for listening." "Any time." Alara hesitated, then she said, "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why did you really run into that fire?" Logan thought about it. He thought about Ben in the car, the screaming, the heat, the way his lungs had burned with every breath. "I don't know," he said finally. "Maybe because I knew I could. Maybe because nobody else would. Or maybe I'm just wired wrong." Alara's eyes searched his face. "I don't think you're wired wrong." "No?" "No." She stepped closer. "I think you're wired exactly right." Before Logan could respond, she got into the car. The door closed. The sedan pulled away, disappearing into the flow of traffic. Logan stood on the sidewalk, hands in his pockets, watching until the taillights vanished. He didn't know it yet, but that dinner was the beginning of something he couldn't control, something that would pull him into Alara's world and refuse to let go. And deep down, in a place he didn't want to admit existed, Logan didn't mind. The next morning, Logan's phone rang again. Same unknown number. He answered. "Yeah? It's Alara." Logan sat up straighter. He was in the garage, crouched beside a Camry with a blown gasket. "Hey, what's up?" "I need your help." Logan frowned. "With what?" "My project, the one I told you about." Alara's voice was tight, urgent. "Something's wrong. The system isn't working the way it should. I've been staring at the data for 3 days and I can't figure out why. I'm a mechanic, not a software engineer." "I know. But you see things differently. You think differently. I need a fresh perspective." Logan hesitated. "Alara, please." That word stopped him cold. It didn't sound like something Alara Voss said often. "When?" he asked. "Now." Logan glanced at Mike, who was watching him with raised eyebrows. Logan covered the phone. "I gotta go. Family thing." Mike waved him off. Yeah, go." Logan grabbed his jacket. "I'll be there in 20. "Pode. Vamos embora, sa." Alara's office was nothing like her apartment. It was cluttered, chaotic. Whiteboards covered in equations, monitors displaying endless streams of data, empty coffee cups stacked on every available surface. Alara was standing in front of a massive screen, arms crossed, staring at a series of red alerts flashing across a map. "What am I looking at?" Logan asked. "Failure predictions," Alara said without turning around. "The system is supposed to flag high-risk buildings based on electrical load, material degradation, environmental stress. But it's missing things, obvious things, and I can't figure out why." Logan stepped closer. The map showed a grid of buildings, each marked with a color: green for safe, yellow for moderate risk, red for critical. How does it decide? He asked. Algorithms. We feed it data: building age, inspection reports, utility records, weather patterns. It analyzes everything and calculates a risk score. And the red ones are the dangerous buildings. They should be, Alara pointed at the screen. But 3 weeks ago, the system flagged a building as green. 2 days later, it caught fire. 15 people were hospitalized. Logan's stomach dropped. Jesus. The system failed, Alara said quietly. And I don't know why. Logan studied the map. He wasn't an engineer. He didn't understand the math. But he understood patterns. He understood when something didn't fit. What if it's not the algorithm? He said slowly. Alara turned. What do you mean? You said the system uses data, right? Inspection reports, utility records. What if the data's wrong? Alara frowned. The data comes from official sources. It's verified. By who? She paused. Municipal databases. Third-party contractors. And you trust them? Alara opened her mouth, closed it. I never thought to question it. Logan crossed his arms. Maybe you should. For a long moment, Alara just stared at him. Then she turned back to the screen, her fingers flying across the keyboard. She pulled up a file, scrolled through lines of code, stopped. There, she whispered. What? The data feed from one of our contractors. It's been altered. Alara's face went pale. Someone's been feeding us false information. Logan stepped closer. Who? I don't know. Alara's hands were shaking. But if they've been manipulating the data, then every prediction we've made could be wrong. Every building we marked as safe could be a time bomb. Logan's mind raced. Can you fix it? Not without knowing who's behind it. Alara looked at him. This isn't just sabotage, Logan. This is intentional. Someone wants my system to fail. Then we find out who. We? Logan met her gaze. You helped me see the problem. Now I'm helping you solve it. Alara didn't argue. She just nodded. Okay, Dad. They spent the next 6 hours tearing apart the data feeds. Alara worked the technical side. Logan asked the dumb questions, the ones that made her stop and rethink her assumptions. By midnight, they had a lead. A contractor named Silas Grant. He ran a building inspection firm that supplied data to half the city. And according to Alara's records, every false report had come from his company. We need to confront him, Alara said. Logan shook his head. Not yet. If he knows we're onto him, he'll disappear. We need proof. How do we get proof? Logan thought for a moment. Then he said, we go to one of the buildings, the ones he marked as safe. We check it ourselves. Alara stared at him. You want to break into a building? I want to inspect it. There's a difference. Logan, you said people's lives are at stake. If Grant's lying, we need to know, and we need evidence. Alara exhaled slowly, then she nodded. Okay, but we do this smart. No unnecessary risks. Logan almost laughed. You're talking to the guy who ran into a burning building. I know. Alara's expression softened. That's why I'm worried. They chose a building on the east side, a 6-story apartment complex that Grant's firm had cleared 2 months ago. According to Alara's system, it should have been flagged as high risk, but Grant had marked it green. They arrived just after 1 in the morning. The street was empty. The building looked abandoned. Half the windows were dark. Logan picked the lock on the maintenance entrance. Alara followed him inside, holding a flashlight. The air smelled wrong, damp, chemical. Logan's instinct screamed at him to leave. This way, Alara whispered. She led him down a narrow hallway to the electrical room. The door was unlocked. Inside, the breaker panel was a mess. Wires crossed at random. Several circuits were overloaded. The whole setup looked like it had been installed by someone who didn't care if it exploded. This is insane, Alara breathed. This building is a death trap. Logan pulled out his phone and started taking pictures. How many people live here? According to the records, 43. Logan's jaw tightened. We need to shut this down. We will, but first we need... A sound echoed from the hallway. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate. Logan grabbed Alara's arm. We need to go. Now. They ran. Behind them, the footsteps quickened. A door slammed. A voice shouted, rough, angry. Logan shoved open the exit door and pulled Alara into the alley. They sprinted toward the street. Logan's truck was parked 2 blocks away. They didn't stop running until they were inside. Logan started the engine. The truck roared to life. He pulled onto the street and didn't slow down until they were miles away. Alara was breathing hard. Who was that? I don't know. Logan's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. But they knew we were there. Alara looked at him. This is bigger than I thought. Logan didn't answer because he was starting to realize the same thing. Alara Voss wasn't just dealing with sabotage. She was dealing with something organized, something dangerous, and Logan had just stepped into the middle of it. Logan didn't sleep that night. He sat in his kitchen with the lights off, staring at the photos on his phone. Frayed wiring, overloaded circuits, a building full of people who had no idea they were living inside a powder keg. Ben shuffled into the room around 6:30, rubbing his eyes. Dad? Logan looked up. Hey, buddy, you're up early. You didn't come to bed. I know, I was working on something. Ben frowned. He was wearing his dinosaur pajamas, the ones that were getting too small, but he refused to give up. Are you okay? Logan forced a smile. Yeah, I'm fine. Just a lot on my mind. Ben climbed onto the chair across from him. Is it about the fire lady? Logan went still. What? The lady you saved. You've been talking to her a lot. How do you know that? Ben shrugged. You keep checking your phone, and you smile different when she calls. Logan didn't know what to say to that. He wasn't sure it was even true. But Ben had always been observant. Too observant for a 7-year-old. She needed help with something, Logan said carefully. That's all. Do you like her? It's not like that. Then what's it like? Logan rubbed his face. I don't know, Ben. I really don't. Ben studied him for a moment, then hopped off the chair. I'm going to watch cartoons. Okay, I'll make breakfast in a minute. Ben paused in the doorway. Dad? Yeah? Be careful. Logan's chest tightened. I will. But as Ben disappeared into the living room, Logan wasn't sure that was a promise he could keep. Alara called at 9. Logan was in the garage halfway through an oil change when his phone buzzed. We need to talk, she said without preamble. About last night? About everything. Her voice was tight. Can you come to my office? Logan glanced at Mike, who was bent over an engine block, muttering curses. I'm working. Logan, this is important. So's my job. There was a pause, then Alara said quieter, Please. Logan closed his eyes. That word again. The one she didn't use lightly. Give me an hour, he said. When Logan arrived, Alara's office looked worse than before. Papers were scattered across every surface. The whiteboards had been wiped clean and redrawn with new diagrams. Alara was standing in the middle of it all, holding a tablet, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. You look like hell, Logan said. I haven't slept. Alara handed him the tablet. Look at this. Logan scrolled through the document. It was a list of buildings, dozens of them, each one marked with a date and a status report from Silas Grant's firm. Every single one, Alara said, was cleared by Grant, and every single one has major safety violations that should have been flagged. How do you know? I sent a team out this morning. We inspected 3 of them. Same story as last night. Faulty wiring, structural issues, gas leaks. These buildings are disasters waiting to happen. Logan's jaw tightened. How many people are we talking about? Over 200, maybe more. Alara's voice cracked. And they have no idea. Logan set down the tablet. We need to go to the authorities. With what? Photos? Anecdotal evidence? Grant's firm is licensed and bonded. The city trusts him. If we accuse him without hard proof, he'll bury us. Then we get hard proof. How? Logan thought for a moment. We go after his records. Bank statements, contracts, communications. Somebody's paying him to falsify these reports. We find out who, we've got our proof. Alara crossed her arms. That's illegal. So's letting people die. She stared at him. You're serious. You said lives are at stake. You want to play by the rules or you want to stop this? Alara didn't answer right away. She walked to the window and looked out at the city. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. I don't know how to do this. Do what? Break the rules. I've spent my whole life building systems, following procedures, doing things the right way, and now you're asking me to throw all of that out. Logan stepped closer. I'm not asking you to become a criminal. I'm asking you to do whatever it takes to protect people. There's a difference. Alara turned to face him. Is there? Yeah, there is. Logan held her gaze. You know what the right thing is? You're just scared to do it. Of course I'm scared. Alara's voice rose. This isn't some hypothetical problem I can solve with an algorithm. These are real people with real lives. If I screw this up, people could die, and that's on me. It's not on you, Logan said quietly. It's on whoever's paying Grant to lie. You're just trying to fix it. Alara's shoulders sagged. She looked exhausted, defeated. What if I can't? Then we try anyway. She laughed bitterly. You make it sound so simple. It's not simple, but it's necessary. Logan paused. Look, I get it. You're used to being in control. You're used to having all the answers. But sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just have to trust your gut and hope it's enough. Alara studied him for a long moment. Then she said, You really believe that? I have to. Otherwise, I'd never get out of bed. Alara smiled faintly. You're an optimist. I'm a realist. There's a difference. She shook her head. No, you're definitely an optimist. You just don't know it yet. They spent the next 3 days digging into Silas Grant's life. Alara handled the digital side, hacking into emails, tracking financial transactions, mapping connections. Logan handled the physical side, staking out Grant's office, following his movements, looking for patterns. It was tedious work, boring work, the kind of thing that made Logan question why he'd agreed to this in the first place. But every time he thought about walking away, he remembered the building, the frayed wires, the families living inside. And he kept going. On the 4th day, they caught a break. Alara called him at midnight. I found something. Logan was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. What? A payment. $500,000 transferred to Grant's account 3 months ago. It came from a shell company called Apex Holdings. Logan sat up. Who's behind it? I don't know yet, but I'm tracing it. There was a pause. Logan, this is big. If Apex is funding Grant, they're not doing it out of charity. They want something. Like what? I don't know, but whatever it is, it's worth $500,000. Logan's mind raced. Can you find out who owns Apex? I'm working on it, but it's buried under layers of paperwork. It's going to take time. How much time? A few days? Maybe a week? We don't have a week. I know. Alara's voice was tight. But if I rush this, I could tip them off. And then we lose everything. Logan exhaled slowly. Okay, do what you need to do, but be careful. I will. A pause. Logan? Yeah? Thank you for staying. Logan didn't know what to say to that, so he just said, anytime. Yeah. 2 days later, Alara showed up at Logan's apartment unannounced. It was almost 10 at night. Ben was asleep. Logan was on the couch, watching a game he wasn't really paying attention to. When he opened the door, Alara looked like she'd been crying. What happened? Logan asked. I found them. Her voice was hollow. The people behind Apex. Logan stepped aside. Come in. Alara walked into the living room and sat on the edge of the couch. Logan sat beside her. Who are they? A real estate development group called Vanguard Properties. They specialize in buying up low-income housing and redeveloping it into luxury condos. Alara's hands were shaking. They've been targeting buildings in this city for years, but they can't just tear them down. There are laws protecting tenants, so they found a loophole. Logan's stomach dropped. They pay Grant to falsify reports. Exactly. If a building is declared unsafe, the tenants get evicted. Vanguard swoops in, buys the property for pennies on the dollar, and demolishes it. No legal pushback, no public outcry, just profit. Jesus. Logan's jaw tightened. How many buildings are we talking about? 17 so far. All in the same neighborhood, all low income, all flagged by Grant as structurally unsound. Alara looked at him. But they're not. They're just old. They need maintenance, not demolition. But Vanguard doesn't care. They see dollar signs. Logan felt rage building in his chest. We need to stop them. I know, but I don't know how. Alara's voice broke. These people have money, power, connections. If I go public with this, they'll destroy me. They'll discredit my company, tie me up in lawsuits, make sure I never work again. So what are you saying? You're giving up? I'm saying I don't know if I can win. Alara looked at him, and for the first time since Logan had met her, she looked genuinely afraid. I built my company to save lives. But if I go after Vanguard and lose, I'll lose everything. And then I can't help anyone. Logan leaned forward. You're not going to lose. You don't know that. No, but I know you. And I know you're not the kind of person who walks away when people need you. Alara's eyes filled with tears. What if I'm not strong enough? You are. How do you know? Because you're still here. Logan reached out and took her hand. You could have walked away after the fire. You could have taken the insurance money and disappeared. But you didn't. You stayed. You fought. And you're still fighting. Alara stared at their joined hands. I'm scared, Logan. I know, so am I. Then why are you still here? Logan didn't have a good answer, or maybe he did, and he just wasn't ready to say it out loud. So instead he said, because somebody has to be. Alara wiped her eyes. You're a better person than I am. I really don't think that's true. She laughed weakly. It is. You don't even realize it. They sat in silence for a while. The TV flickered in the background. Outside, the city hummed with distant noise. Finally, Alara said, What do we do now? Logan thought about it. We build a case. We gather every piece of evidence we can find, and then we go public. Not through the courts, through the press. We make this so big, so loud, that Vanguard can't bury it. That's risky. Yeah, it is. Logan squeezed her hand. But you said it yourself. If we don't stop them, people are going to get hurt. So we take the risk. Alara nodded slowly. Okay. 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 She looked at him. Let's do it. The next week was chaos. Alara reached out to a journalist she knew, a woman named Maria Chen who'd built a career exposing corporate corruption. Maria was skeptical at first, but when Alara showed her the evidence, she went quiet. This is insane, Maria said. They were sitting in a coffee shop downtown, huddled over Alara's laptop. You're telling me Vanguard has been systematically evicting tenants through fraudulent safety reports? That's exactly what I'm telling you, Alara said. Maria scrolled through the documents. And you have proof? Bank transfers, emails, inspection reports, all of it. Maria leaned back. If I run this story, Vanguard's going to come after me. And you. I know. You're okay with that? Alara glanced at Logan, who was sitting beside her. He nodded. Yeah, Alara said. I'm okay with that. Maria studied them for a moment. Then she closed the laptop. Give me 2 weeks. I'll fact-check everything, talk to sources, build the story, and then we blow this wide open. Logan didn't tell Ben what he was doing. He couldn't. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that you're helping take down a real estate conglomerate? But Ben knew something was wrong. He'd stopped asking questions. He just watched Logan with those wide, worried eyes that made Logan's chest ache. One night, Logan was tucking him into bed when Ben said, Are you going to be okay? Logan paused. What do you mean? You keep leaving, and you look tired all the time, and you're not watching football anymore. Logan sat on the edge of the bed. I'm fine, buddy. Just got some stuff I'm working on. With the fire lady? Logan hesitated. Yeah? Is she your girlfriend? No, she's just a friend. Ben frowned. Do you want her to be your girlfriend? Logan didn't know how to answer that, because the truth was, he didn't know. Alara was brilliant, strong, determined, but she was also guarded, complicated, and Logan's life was already complicated enough. I don't know, Logan admitted. Maybe. Ben thought about this. I think you should ask her. Logan laughed. Yeah? Why's that? Because you're happy when you talk to her, and you haven't been happy in a long time. Logan's throat tightened. He pulled Ben into a hug. I love you, kid. I love you too, Dad. The story broke on a Wednesday morning. Maria's article hit the front page of the city's biggest newspaper, complete with leaked documents, recorded conversations, and interviews with displaced tenants. The headline read, Vanguard Properties accused of systematic tenant eviction through fraudulent safety reports. Within hours, it was everywhere. News outlets picked it up. Social media exploded. Protesters gathered outside Vanguard's headquarters. Logan was at work when his phone started ringing. Mike looked over. You gonna get that? Logan pulled out his phone. It was Alara. Did you see it? She asked. Yeah, I saw it. We did it, Logan. We actually did it. Logan could hear the relief in her voice, but he could also hear something else. Fear. You okay? He asked. I don't know. My phone's been ringing non-stop. Reporters, lawyers. My board of directors is freaking out. Vanguard's threatening to sue. Let them. Logan, let them sue. They won't win. The evidence is out there now. The whole city knows what they did. They can't bury this. Alara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I couldn't have done this without you. Yeah, you could have. No, I couldn't. Her voice softened. You made me believe I could fight, and that's something I'd forgotten how to do. Logan didn't know what to say, so he just said, You should get some rest. I will, after I deal with the lawyers. Alara. I know. I'll be careful. A pause. Logan? Yeah? Thank you. The line went dead. Logan stared at his phone. Mike was watching him with a knowing look. What? Logan said. You got it bad, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Mike grinned. Sure you don't. 3 days later, Silas Grant was arrested. The city launched an investigation into his firm. Vanguard Properties' stock tanked. The CEO stepped down amid mounting pressure. It felt like a victory, but Logan knew it wasn't over, because 2 nights after Grant's arrest, someone tried to kill Alara again. She called Logan at 3 in the morning. Her voice was shaking. Someone broke into my apartment, she said. Logan was already pulling on his jeans. Are you okay? I'm fine. I wasn't there. But they trashed the place, broke everything, left a message on the wall. What kind of message? Alara's voice went quiet. It said, Stop talking or we'll make you stop. Logan's blood ran cold. Where are you now? A hotel, downtown. I didn't know where else to go. Stay there. I'm coming to you. Logan, you don't have to. I'm coming. He hung up. Ben was standing in the doorway, rubbing his eyes. Dad? Logan crouched down. Hey, buddy. I need you to stay with Mrs. Carson tonight, okay? Mrs. Carson was their neighbor, a retired teacher who babysat Ben sometimes. Why? Because I need to help a friend, and I'll be back in the morning, I promise. Ben's face crumpled. Is it the fire lady? Logan nodded. Yeah. Is she in trouble? Yeah, she is. Ben grabbed Logan's arm. Don't go. Logan's chest ached. I have to. No, you don't. You can call the police. You can let someone else help her. Ben? She's not your responsibility, Dad. I am. Ben's eyes were wet. And I don't want you to get hurt. Logan pulled him into a hug. I'm not going to get hurt. I promise. You can't promise that. You're right. I can't. Logan pulled back and looked his son in the eye. But I can promise that I'll be careful. And I can promise that I'll come back because you're the most important thing in my life. And I would never do anything to take that away from you. Ben sniffled. You swear? I swear. Ben wiped his eyes. Okay. Logan kissed his forehead. I'll be back before breakfast. Alara's hotel room was on the 14th floor. Logan knocked once. The door opened immediately. Alara looked like she'd been through a war. Her eyes were red. Her hands were shaking. She was wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, the most casual Logan had ever seen her. You came, she said. Of course I came. She stepped aside. Logan walked in. The room was small, generic. A queen bed, a desk, a window overlooking the city. Alara sat on the edge of the bed. Logan sat beside her. I didn't think it would get this bad, she said quietly. I thought once the story broke, they'd back off. But they're not backing off. They're escalating. Because they're scared, Logan said. You've got them cornered, and cornered animals are dangerous. So what do I do? You don't do anything. You let the police handle it. Alara laughed bitterly. The police can't protect me. You know that. Then what do you want from me? She looked at him. I don't know. I needed to see you. Logan's heart thudded in his chest. Alara, I know this is selfish, she said quickly. I know I'm dragging you into something you didn't sign up for, but I don't have anyone else. My parents are gone. I don't have siblings. I've spent my whole life building walls because it's easier to be alone. And now I'm terrified because I finally let someone in, and I don't know what to do with that. Logan stared at her. You let me in? Yes. Her voice cracked. I let you in, and now I don't know how to let you go. Logan didn't think. He just acted. He reached out and pulled her into his arms. Alara stiffened, then she melted against him, her face pressed into his shoulder. She didn't cry, she just held on. I'm not going anywhere, Logan said quietly. You should. I know, but I'm not. Alara pulled back slightly. Her eyes searched his face. Why? Logan didn't have a good answer. Or maybe he did, and he was finally ready to say it. Because I care about you, he said. And I don't know when that happened or how. But it did. And I'm done pretending it didn't. Alara's breath caught. Logan, you don't have to say anything, Logan said quickly. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know. But Alara didn't look away. She just kept staring at him, her eyes wide and vulnerable in a way he'd never seen before. And then she kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't tentative. It was desperate and messy and full of all the fear and uncertainty they'd been carrying. Logan kissed her back. His hand found the back of her neck. Her fingers twisted in his shirt. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathing hard. I care about you too, Alara whispered, and that terrifies me. Yeah, Logan said, me too. They sat there in the quiet, holding on to each other like they were the only solid thing in the world. Outside, the city glittered with lights. Somewhere, people were planning their next move. Somewhere, danger was waiting. But for now, in this moment, Logan didn't care, because for the first time in a long time, he wasn't alone. And neither was she. Logan woke up on the hotel couch with a crick in his neck and morning light slicing through the blinds. Alara was still asleep in the bed, curled on her side, her breathing slow and even. He'd insisted on taking the couch. She'd argued for about 30 seconds before exhaustion won. He checked his phone. 6:17. 3 missed calls from Mrs. Carson. His stomach dropped. He stepped into the hallway and called her back. Logan, thank heavens, Mrs. Carson said. Ben woke up crying around 5. He thought something happened to you. I'm fine. I'm sorry. I should have called. He's okay now, watching cartoons, but he was really upset. Logan closed his eyes. Can I talk to him? There was shuffling, then Ben's small voice. Dad? Hey, buddy, I'm sorry I didn't call. You said you'd be back before breakfast. Logan glanced at his watch. I know, I got held up, but I'm coming home right now, okay? Is the fire lady okay? Logan hesitated. Yeah, she's okay. Are you going to keep helping her? I don't know yet. Ben was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I don't like this. I know, I don't either. Then why are you doing it? Logan didn't have a good answer. Or maybe he had too many answers and none of them felt right to say to a 7-year-old. So he just said, because sometimes you have to do hard things, even when you don't want to. Ben sniffled. I want you to come home. I will. I promise. 20 minutes. Okay. Logan hung up. When he turned around, Alara was standing in the doorway, still wearing the hoodie from last night. Her hair was a mess. She looked younger without the armor of her usual composure. You're leaving, she said. I have to. Ben needs me. Alara nodded. I understand. Logan stepped closer. You gonna be okay? I'll figure it out. That's not what I asked. Alara's jaw tightened. I don't know, Logan. Someone broke into my home. They threatened me, and I don't know what comes next. So no, I'm not okay, but I will be. Logan wanted to stay. Every instinct told him to stay, but Ben's voice was still echoing in his head. I'll call you later, he said. You don't have to. I want to. Alara looked at him for a long moment, Then she stepped forward and kissed him. It was softer than last night, gentler, like she was trying to memorize the feeling. When she pulled back, she said, "Be careful." "You too." Logan left before he could change his mind. Ben didn't say much when Logan got home. He just wrapped his arms around Logan's waist and held on. Mrs. Carson gave Logan a look that said they'd be having a conversation later, but she didn't push. Logan made pancakes. Ben ate in silence, pushing the pieces around his plate. "You mad at me?" Logan asked. Ben shook his head. "Then what's wrong?" "I don't want you to get hurt." Logan set down his fork. "I'm not going to get hurt." "You don't know that." "No, but I'm being careful. That's what you said last time." Ben looked up. His eyes were red. "And then you almost didn't come back." Logan's chest ached. "Ben, I don't want a new mom," Ben said suddenly. "I don't care if you like her. I just want you to be safe." Logan blinked. "What?" "The fire lady. I know you like her. And that's okay. But I don't want you to get hurt because of her." Logan didn't know what to say. He'd underestimated how much Ben had been paying attention, how much he'd been worrying. "Listen to me," Logan said quietly. "Nothing is more important to me than you. Not Alara, not anybody. You come first. Always. And if helping her puts you at risk, I'll walk away. I promise. But you like her." "Yeah, I do, but that doesn't change anything." Ben frowned. "Does she like you?" Logan thought about the kiss, the way Alara had looked at him. "I think so." "Then she should stop asking you to help her because it's not fair." Out of the mouths of kids. Logan almost smiled. "It's complicated, buddy." "It doesn't sound complicated. It sounds dangerous." "You're not wrong." Ben pushed his plate away. "I'm not hungry anymore." Logan didn't push. He just cleaned up the kitchen while Ben went to his room. And for the first time since this whole thing started, Logan wondered if Ben was right. Maybe it was time to walk away. Michigan. Alara didn't call. Logan didn't call her either. 2 days passed in tense silence. He went to work. He picked Ben up from school. He tried to pretend everything was normal. But it wasn't, and he knew it. On the third day, Maria Chen called. "Logan, it's Maria. We need to talk." Logan stepped outside the garage. "About what?" "Vanguard's fighting back. They've hired a PR firm. They're spinning the story, saying Alara fabricated evidence, that she's got a vendetta, that she's trying to tank their business for personal gain." Logan's jaw tightened. "That's bullshit." "I know, but it's working. Public opinion is shifting. People are starting to doubt the story." "What about the evidence? The documents?" "They're claiming they're doctored, and without Grant testifying, it's hard to prove otherwise." "What do you mean, without Grant testifying?" Maria paused. "You haven't heard?" "Heard what?" "Grant's lawyer cut a deal. He's refusing to cooperate. Says he'll plead the fifth on everything." Logan felt his stomach drop. "So we've got nothing." "We've got the evidence, but without corroboration, Vanguard's lawyers are shredding it in the press. And Alara's company is taking the hit. Her board is talking about forcing her out." "Where is she?" "I don't know. She stopped answering my calls." Logan hung up. He tried Alara's number. It went straight to voicemail. He tried again. Same thing. "Damn it," he muttered. Mike looked over. "You good?" "No, I gotta go." "Again?" Logan didn't answer. He just grabbed his jacket and left. Alara's office was locked. The lights were off. Logan pounded on the door. No answer. He tried her apartment next. The building's doorman recognized him from before. "She's not here," the doorman said. "Where is she?" "I don't know. She checked out 2 days ago. Didn't say where she was going." Logan's chest tightened. He pulled out his phone and called Claire, Alara's assistant. "I need to find Alara," Logan said. "I don't know where she is," Claire said. She sounded exhausted. "She told me to take a few days off, said she needed space." "Did she say anything else?" "Just that she was sorry." Logan felt cold. "Sorry for what?" "I don't know. She wouldn't explain." Claire paused. "Logan, is she okay?" "I don't know." He hung up. His mind raced. Alara wouldn't just disappear. Not unless she was running, or hiding, or planning something stupid. Logan pulled up their text thread. The last message was from 3 days ago. A simple thank you after he'd left the hotel. He typed, "Where are you?" No response. He tried calling again. Voicemail. "Damn it, Alara," he muttered. Logan didn't sleep that night. He kept checking his phone, kept waiting for a message that didn't come. By morning, he'd made a decision. He called Mike. "I need a few days off." Mike sighed. "Logan, I know, I'm sorry, but this is important." "More important than your job?" Logan hesitated. "Yeah, it is." Mike was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You got 3 days. After that, I gotta hire someone else." "I understand." Logan hung up. Ben was eating cereal at the kitchen table, watching him. "You're leaving again," Ben said. "Just for a couple days." "To find her." Logan nodded. Ben set down his spoon. "What if she doesn't want to be found?" "Then I'll come home." "And if she does?" "Then I'll help her. And then I'll come home." Ben's eyes filled with tears. "You keep saying that, but I don't believe you anymore." Logan's heart broke. He crouched down beside Ben's chair. "I know I've been gone a lot, and I know that's not fair to you, but I promise, this is the last time." "You can't promise that." "You're right. I can't." Logan took a breath. "But I can promise that no matter what happens, you're the most important thing in my life, and I will always come back to you." Ben wiped his eyes. "What if something bad happens?" "Then I'll deal with it, but I won't let it keep me from you." Ben stared at him for a long moment. Then he said, "Okay. Okay? Okay." Ben's voice was small. "But you have to come back." "I will." Logan hugged him, and for the first time in days, he felt like he was doing the right thing, even if it didn't feel safe. Logan started with Alara's company. He talked to employees. He checked her usual spots, the coffee shop she liked, the park where she ran in the mornings. Nothing. He went back to the hotel where she'd stayed. The clerk remembered her but hadn't seen her since she checked out. Logan was running out of options. And then he remembered something Alara had said during one of their late-night conversations. "When I need to think, I go to the lake." Logan pulled out his phone and searched for lakes within driving distance. There were 3. He picked the closest one and started driving. The lake was an hour outside the city, nestled in the hills. It was quiet, peaceful, the kind of place people went to disappear. Logan parked in the small lot and walked along the shore. There were a few cabins scattered among the trees. Most looked abandoned, and then he saw it. A black sedan parked in front of one of the cabins. The same kind of car Alara's driver used. Logan's pulse quickened. He approached the cabin and knocked. No answer. He tried the door. Unlocked. Inside, the cabin was small. One room, a kitchenette, a bed, and sitting at a table by the window, staring out at the lake, was Alara. She didn't turn around when he walked in. "How did you find me?" she asked quietly. "You told me about the lake. I didn't think you'd remember." Logan stepped closer. "You okay?" Alara laughed bitterly. "No, I'm not okay. My company's falling apart. My board wants me out. The press thinks I'm a liar. And the people I was trying to protect are being evicted anyway because no one believes me." Logan pulled out a chair and sat across from her. "So you ran." "I didn't run. I retreated. There's a difference." "Not much of one." Alara finally looked at him. Her eyes were red. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "What are you doing here, Logan?" "Making sure you're not doing something stupid." "Like what?" "I don't know. Giving up. Disappearing. Deciding this fight isn't worth it." Alara's jaw tightened. "Maybe it's not." "You don't believe that." "How do you know?" "Because I know you." Logan leaned forward. "You don't quit. Even when things get hard. Even when people turn on you. You keep fighting because that's who you are." "Maybe I'm tired of fighting." "Then take a break. But don't give up." Alara shook her head. "It's not that simple. Vanguard's winning. They've got the money, the lawyers, the connections, and I've got nothing." "You've got the truth." "The truth doesn't matter if no one believes it." Logan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "You're right. The truth doesn't matter. Not on its own. But you know what does? People. Real people whose lives you've already saved. People who are still alive because of the work you did. That matters. And if you walk away now, you're telling them their lives don't count. Alara's eyes filled with tears. I can't save everyone. No, but you can save some, and that's enough. Is it? It has to be. Alara wiped her eyes. I don't know how to do this anymore. I built my whole life around being in control, and now I'm not. And I don't know how to function without it. Logan reached across the table and took her hand. Then stop trying to control it. Just do the next right thing, and then the thing after that. And eventually you'll find your way. Alara stared at their joined hands. What if I fail? Then you fail, but at least you'll fail trying. She laughed weakly. That's not very comforting. I'm not very good at comforting. No, you're not. Alara looked at him. But you're good at showing up, and that's something. Logan squeezed her hand. Come back with me. We'll figure this out, together. Alara hesitated. Logan, I can't ask you to. You're not asking. I'm offering. Why? Because I care about you, and because I think you're worth fighting for. Alara's breath caught. Even if I lose? Especially if you lose. She stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay. Okay? Okay. I'll come back. They drove back to the city in silence. Alara stared out the window. Logan kept glancing at her, making sure she was still there. When they reached her office building, Alara didn't move. You ready? Logan asked. No, but I don't think I ever will be. Then let's just get it over with. They walked inside together. The office was buzzing with activity. Employees looked up as Alara passed. Some looked relieved. Others looked uncertain. Claire rushed over. Alara, thank heavens, the board's been trying to reach you. I know. Where are they? Conference room. They've been waiting for an hour. Alara took a breath. Okay, let's do this. Logan started to step back, but Alara grabbed his hand. Come with me. Alara, I don't think... Please. Logan nodded. Okay. They walked into the conference room together. The board was seated around the table, 5 people in expensive suits, all looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. The chairman, a man named Richard, stood. Alara, we need to talk. I know. Sit down. Alara didn't sit. I'm not resigning. Richard blinked. Excuse me? That's why you're here, right? To ask me to step down. To save the company's reputation. To cut your losses. Alara's voice was steady. But I'm not doing it. Alara, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I exposed a conspiracy. I saved lives. And now you want me to walk away because it's getting messy. But I won't. Because if I leave, Vanguard wins. And I'm not letting them win. Richard's face hardened. You're putting this company at risk. No, I'm fighting for what's right. There's a difference. The press is destroying us. Our stock is down 30%. Clients are pulling contracts. If this continues, we'll be bankrupt in 6 months. Then we rebuild. But we rebuild with integrity. Richard shook his head. You're being naive. Maybe, but I'd rather be naive than a coward. The room went silent. Richard's face turned red. How dare you? She's right. Everyone turned. One of the board members, a woman named Dr. Patel, stood. Alara's right. We built this company to save lives, not to protect our stock price. And if we force her out, we're no better than Vanguard. Richard stared at her. Ellen, I vote to keep Alara as CEO, Dr. Patel said. And I vote to fight this. All the way. Another board member raised his hand. I agree. Then another. Within 30 seconds, 4 of the 5 board members had voted in Alara's favor. Richard looked furious, but he was outnumbered. Fine, but if this company goes under, it's on you. Alara didn't flinch. I can live with that. After the meeting, Alara collapsed into her office chair. Logan stood by the window, watching the city below. I can't believe that worked, Alara said. You were convincing. I was terrified. Didn't show. Alara laughed weakly. I'm good at hiding it. Logan turned to face her. What now? Now we go after Vanguard for real this time. Alara pulled up a file on her computer. I've been working on something, a new approach. Instead of fighting them in the press, we take them to court, a class action lawsuit on behalf of the displaced tenants. Logan frowned. You said they'd bury us in legal fees. They will. But I found a lawyer who's willing to work pro bono. Her name's Rachel Moss. She specializes in housing rights. And she hates Vanguard. Why? They evicted her parents 5 years ago. Same scam, false safety reports. Her dad had a heart attack during the move. He didn't make it. Alara's voice was quiet. She's been waiting for a case strong enough to take them down, and this is it. Logan felt a flicker of hope. You think she can win? I think we have a chance, a real one. Alara looked at him. But it's going to be a long fight. Months, maybe years, and I can't do it alone. Logan didn't hesitate. You're not alone. Logan, you have a son, a job, a life. I can't ask you to put that on hold for me. You're not asking, I'm choosing. Alara's eyes filled with tears. Why? Because I believe in you, and because I think this matters. Even if we lose? Even then. Alara stood and crossed the room. She wrapped her arms around him and held on tight. Logan held her back, feeling the tension drain from her body. Thank you, she whispered. Anytime. They stood like that for a long time, neither of them wanting to let go, because they both knew what came next would be harder than anything they'd faced so far. But at least they wouldn't face it alone. Rachel Moss was everything Alara had promised, sharp, relentless, angry in the best possible way. She met with them the next day and laid out the plan. We file the lawsuit in 2 weeks, Rachel said. We'll need signed affidavits from every displaced tenant, documented evidence of the false reports, proof of financial harm. It's going to be a lot of work. We can do it, Alara said. Rachel looked at Logan. And you are? Logan Reed, I'm helping. Helping how? However I can. Rachel studied him for a moment, then she nodded. Good. We'll need all the help we can get. Over the next 2 weeks, Logan and Alara worked around the clock. They interviewed tenants. They gathered documents. They built a case brick by brick. It was exhausting. Logan barely saw Ben. When he did, the kid was quiet, withdrawn. Logan knew he was screwing up, but he didn't know how to stop. One night, Logan came home to find Ben sitting on the couch, staring at the TV. It wasn't even on. Hey, buddy, Logan said. Ben didn't look at him. You missed my game. Logan's stomach dropped. What? My soccer game. You said you'd be there, but you didn't come. Logan sat down beside him. Ben, I'm so sorry. I forgot. You always forget now. Ben's voice was flat. You care more about her than you do about me. That's not true. Yes, it is. Ben finally looked at him. His eyes were filled with anger and hurt. You're never here anymore. And when you are, you're always on the phone, or thinking about her, or leaving again. Logan felt like he'd been punched. Ben, I don't want you to help her anymore. I want you to be my dad. Logan didn't know what to say, because Ben was right. He'd been so focused on Alara, on the case, on doing the right thing, that he'd forgotten the most important thing. His son. You're right, Logan said quietly. I've been a terrible dad lately, and I'm sorry. Ben's lip trembled. I just want things to go back to normal. I know. Me too. Then make it stop. Logan pulled Ben into a hug. I will, I promise. After this case is over, things will go back to normal. I'll be here. I'll come to your games. I'll make pancakes on Saturdays. All of it. Ben sniffled. You promise? I promise. But even as Logan said it, he wasn't sure it was a promise he could keep, because the case was just beginning, and the fight was far from over. The lawsuit was filed on a Thursday morning. By noon, every major news outlet in the city had picked up the story. Rachel stood on the courthouse steps with Alara beside her, fielding questions from reporters while cameras flashed. Logan watched from the back of the crowd, arms crossed. He'd wanted to stand with Alara, but she'd asked him to stay back. This needs to be about the tenants, she'd said. Not about us. He'd agreed. But it still felt wrong to watch her face this alone. A reporter shouted a question. Ms. Voss, Vanguard's calling this a publicity stunt. They say you're trying to salvage your company's reputation by attacking theirs. How do you respond? Ilara's expression didn't change. This lawsuit represents 43 families who were illegally evicted from their homes. It's not about reputation. It's about justice. But your company's stock has dropped significantly since the initial story broke. Isn't this just damage control? Rachel stepped forward. This is a class action lawsuit backed by documented evidence of fraud. If Vanguard wants to defend their actions in court, they're welcome to try. But calling it a publicity stunt doesn't make the evidence disappear. Another reporter jumped in. What about Silas Grant? Will he be testifying? We're still in discussions with Mr. Grant's legal team, Rachel said smoothly. But we have enough evidence to proceed with or without his testimony. That wasn't entirely true. Logan knew they needed Grant. Without him, the case was circumstantial, strong, but not airtight. The press conference wrapped up. Ilara descended the steps, and Logan fell into step beside her. You did good, he said. I feel like I'm going to throw up. That's normal. Ilara glanced at him. Is it? I don't know. I've never sued a billion-dollar corporation before. She almost smiled. Almost. They climbed into the back of Ilara's car. The driver pulled away from the courthouse, navigating through traffic. What happens now? Logan asked. Now we wait. Vanguard has 30 days to respond. Then discovery starts. Depositions, document requests. It's going to get ugly. Uglier than it already is. Much uglier. Ilara leaned her head back against the seat. They're going to come after me, my company, my past. They'll dig up everything they can find and use it against me. Logan frowned. What is there to find? Ilara was quiet for a moment. Nothing criminal, but I wasn't always careful. When I was younger, after my parents died, I made some bad choices, got involved with the wrong people. Nothing illegal, but messy, embarrassing. Everyone's got a past. Not everyone's past gets weaponized in a courtroom. Logan reached over and took her hand. Whatever they throw at you, we'll deal with it. Ilara looked at him. You keep saying we. Yeah, I do. Logan, you don't have to. I know, but I'm going to anyway. He squeezed her hand. You're stuck with me. Ilara's eyes softened. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. She laughed. It was small and tired, but it was real. You're insufferable. I've been told. The car pulled up to Ilara's office building. She didn't let go of his hand. Come upstairs, she said. Please. Alone right now. Logan thought about Ben, about the promise he'd made, about how many times he'd already broken it. But when he looked at Ilara, at the fear barely hidden behind her composure, he couldn't say no. Okay, he said, but just for a little while. They ended up staying until past midnight. Rachel came by with a stack of documents that needed reviewing. Then one of Ilara's engineers showed up with a technical issue that couldn't wait. Then a tenant called, panicking about an eviction notice. Logan helped where he could. He made coffee. He organized files. He listened when people needed to vent. By the time everyone left, Ilara looked like she was about to collapse. You should go home, Logan said. I should, but I won't. Ilara, if I go home, I'll just lie awake thinking about everything that could go wrong. At least here, I can work. Logan sat on the edge of her desk. You're going to burn out. I'll sleep when this is over. That's not how it works. Ilara rubbed her eyes. I don't know how else to do this, Logan. If I slow down, if I stop, I'll start doubting myself, and I can't afford to doubt myself right now. Logan understood that. He'd felt the same way after Jenna left, like if he stopped moving, he'd fall apart. Okay, he said, but you're not doing this alone. Tomorrow I'm bringing you actual food, not coffee, not whatever sugar-filled nonsense you've been eating. Real food. Ilara smiled faintly. You're very bossy. Someone has to be. She stood and crossed to where he sat. She was close enough that Logan could smell her perfume, something subtle and expensive that he'd never be able to identify. Thank you, she said quietly, for everything. You don't have to keep thanking me. I know, but I want to. She leaned in and kissed him. It was slow, deliberate. like she was trying to pour everything she couldn't say into that one moment. Logan kissed her back, his hand finding the small of her back. For a few seconds, the lawsuit didn't exist. Vanguard didn't exist. The world narrowed to just this. When they pulled apart, Alara rested her forehead against his. "I don't know what I'm doing," she whispered. "With the lawsuit?" "With you." Logan's chest tightened. "We don't have to figure it out right now. But we will have to. Eventually." "Yeah, eventually." Logan pulled back slightly. "But not tonight." Alara nodded. "Not tonight." Logan got home just after 1 in the morning. The house was dark. He checked on Ben, fast asleep, clutching his stuffed dinosaur, and felt the familiar pang of guilt. He'd promised to be there, and he kept breaking that promise. Logan sat on the edge of Ben's bed and watched him sleep. His son looked so small, so innocent, and Logan was supposed to protect him. Not from bad guys or fires, but from feeling abandoned. He was failing. The next morning, Ben didn't say much at breakfast. He ate his cereal in silence, eyes fixed on the bowl. "You okay?" Logan asked. Ben shrugged. "Talk to me, buddy. There's nothing to talk about." "Ben, you said things would go back to normal, but they haven't. You're still always gone. You still care more about her than me." Logan set down his coffee. "That's not true." "Then why weren't you here last night?" "I was helping Alara with—" "You're always helping Alara." Ben's voice cracked. "What about helping me?" Logan felt like he'd been punched. "What do you need help with?" "I need my dad." Ben looked up and his eyes were wet. "I need you to stop leaving all the time. I need you to care about me as much as you care about her." Logan's throat tightened. "I do care about you, more than anything." "Then prove it." "How?" "Stop helping her. Come to my games. Be here. Like you used to be." Logan wanted to promise. He wanted to tell Ben that everything would be okay, but he couldn't, because he didn't know if it was true. "I can't walk away right now," Logan said quietly. "There are people who need help, and I'm in a position to help them. But I promise, once this is over—" "You keep saying that, but it's never over. There's always something else, someone else." Ben wiped his eyes. "I don't believe you anymore." Logan reached for him, but Ben pulled away. "I gotta go to school," Ben said. He grabbed his backpack and walked out. Logan sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the table. He'd screwed up, badly, and he didn't know how to fix it. The next few weeks were brutal. Vanguard's lawyers filed a motion to dismiss, arguing the lawsuit had no merit. Rachel countered with a mountain of evidence. The judge denied the motion. Then Vanguard went on the offensive. They leaked stories to the press, carefully crafted narratives painting Alara as unstable, vengeful, and dishonest. They dug into her past, just like she'd predicted. Photos from her early 20s surfaced. Parties, clubs, people she'd rather forget. Nothing scandalous, but enough to plant doubt. Alara took every hit without flinching in public, but in private, Logan saw the cracks. One night she called him at 11. "Can you come over?" "Now?" "Please." Logan looked at Ben's closed bedroom door. He'd already tucked him in, already read him a story, already promised, again, that he'd be there for breakfast. "I'll be there in 20, Logan said. When he arrived, Alara was sitting on her couch with a glass of wine. The bottle beside her was half empty. "You're drinking," Logan said, very observant. He sat beside her. "What happened?" Alara handed him her phone. On the screen was an article. The headline read, "Alara Voss, Tech Genius or Troubled Opportunist?" Logan skimmed it. The article painted a picture of a woman who'd built her career on lies, who'd manipulated people for personal gain, who couldn't be trusted. It was garbage, but it was convincing garbage. "This is what they do," Alara said quietly. "They destroy you piece by piece until no one believes you anymore. The people who matter will believe you. Will they?" Alara looked at him. "My board is already wavering. Half my employees think I'm dragging the company into the ground, and the press is eating this up. So we fight back." "How?" "Every time I defend myself, they twist it. Every time I tell the truth, they make me look desperate." She took a sip of wine. "I'm losing, Logan, and I don't know how to stop it." Logan took the glass from her hand and set it on the table. "You're not losing. You're just tired and scared, and that's okay. But you're not losing. How do you know? Because you're still standing, and as long as you're standing, you're in the fight. Alara's eyes filled with tears. I don't know how much longer I can keep standing. Logan pulled her into his arms. She collapsed against him, her body shaking with silent sobs. He held her, letting her cry, wishing he could take some of the weight off her shoulders. When she finally pulled back, her eyes were red but dry. I'm sorry. For what? For falling apart. You're allowed to fall apart. You're human. Alara laughed bitterly. I don't feel human. I feel like a punching bag. Then let me take some of the hits. She looked at him. How? Let me talk to the press. Let me tell them who you really are. Not the version Vanguard's selling. The real you. Logan, no. If you get involved, they'll come after you too. And Ben. I don't care. I do. Alara's voice was firm. I won't let you put your son at risk for me. Logan wanted to argue, but she was right. Ben had already paid enough for Logan's choices. Okay, he said quietly. Then we stick to the plan. We let Rachel handle the press. We focus on the case, and we trust that the truth will win. Alara nodded, but Logan could see she didn't believe it. And honestly, neither did he. The breakthrough came 3 weeks later. Logan was at the garage elbow deep in a transmission when his phone rang. It was Rachel. We got him, she said. Logan straightened. Got who? Grant. He's flipping. Logan's heart raced. What? His lawyer called this morning. Grant's willing to testify against Vanguard in exchange for immunity. He'll give us everything. Names, payments, communications, the whole operation. Logan couldn't believe it. Why now? Vanguard threw him under the bus. They released a statement saying Grant acted independently, without their knowledge. He's furious, and he's ready to burn them down. Does Alara know? I'm calling her next, but I wanted to tell you first because this changes everything. Logan hung up and immediately called Alara. She answered on the first ring. Did Rachel call you? Yes. Alara's voice was breathless. Logan, we have a real chance now, an actual chance. I know. We could win this. We will win this. There was a pause. Then Alara said, Can you come over tonight? I want to celebrate. With you. Logan thought about Ben, about all the nights he'd already been gone, about the promise he kept breaking, but he also thought about Alara, about how hard she'd fought, about how much she deserved this moment. Yeah, he said. I'll be there. Grunt. But when Logan got home that evening to change, Ben was waiting for him. Where are you going? Ben asked. Logan hesitated. Alara's. Just for a little while. Ben's face fell. You promised you'd help me with my science project tonight. Logan's stomach dropped. He'd completely forgotten. Ben, You forgot. Ben's voice was flat. Again. I'm sorry. But something big happened with the case, and I don't care about the case, Ben shouted. I don't care about Alara. I just want my dad back. Logan crouched down. Ben, listen. No, you listen. Ben's voice shook. You keep choosing her over me. Every single time, and I'm sick of it. That's not fair. Yes, it is. You love her more than you love me. Logan felt his heart shatter. That's not true. I love you more than anything in this world. Then stop leaving. I can't. Not right now. Why not? Because people need help. I need help. Ben was crying now. But you don't care. I do care. Then stay. Ben grabbed Logan's arm. Please, Dad, just stay. Just this once. Logan looked at his son, at the tears streaming down his face, at the desperation in his eyes, and he realized he'd been kidding himself. He couldn't keep doing this. He couldn't keep splitting himself in two. He couldn't keep choosing between Alara and Ben, because every time he chose Alara, he was choosing to hurt his son, and that wasn't fair to anyone. Logan pulled Ben into a hug. Okay, I'll stay. You will? Yeah, I will. Logan pulled out his phone and texted Alara. I'm sorry, I can't make it tonight. Ben needs me. Her response came almost immediately. I understand. Family comes first. Logan set down his phone and focused on his son. Let's work on that science project. Ben wiped his eyes. Really? Really? For the first time in weeks, Ben smiled. Thanks, Dad. Logan smiled back. But inside, he felt like he was being torn apart. Because he knew this wasn't over. He knew the case would keep demanding his time. And he knew Alara would keep needing him. But he also knew he couldn't keep sacrificing his son. Something had to give. And Logan had no idea what that something was. 2 days later, Grant testified in a closed deposition. Rachel called Logan afterward, her voice buzzing with energy. He gave us everything: names, dates, dollar amounts. Vanguard's entire operation laid out in detail. That's huge. It's more than huge. It's a smoking gun. We can take this to trial and win. Logan felt a surge of hope. So what's next? Next, Vanguard's lawyers try to discredit Grant. They'll argue he's lying to save himself. But with the documentary evidence we have, it won't matter. We've got them. Logan hung up and immediately called Alara. We did it, he said. We actually did it. Alara's laugh was shaky. I can't believe it. Believe it. You won. We won, Alara corrected. I couldn't have done this without you. Logan didn't know what to say, because she was right, and he was proud of what they'd accomplished. But he was also exhausted and torn and increasingly aware that this victory had come at a cost. Logan? Alara's voice was soft. Are you okay? Yeah, just tired. You've been working so hard. I know this hasn't been easy. It's been worth it. Has it? Logan frowned. What do you mean? Alara was quiet for a moment. I mean, I know this has taken a toll on you, on your relationship with Ben, and I hate that. I hate that you've sacrificed so much for me. I didn't do it for you. I did it because it was the right thing. Maybe. But it still cost you something, and I don't know if I can ever make that up to you. You don't have to. But I want to. Alara paused. Logan, when this is over, what happens to us? Logan's chest tightened. He'd been avoiding that question for weeks because he didn't have an answer. He cared about Alara, maybe even loved her, but he also knew that loving her meant sacrificing time with his son, and he couldn't keep doing that. I don't know, Sect, he said honestly. Alara was silent. Then she said, That's what I thought. Alara, it's okay. I understand. Her voice was steady, but Logan could hear the hurt underneath. You have a son, and he comes first, as he should. It's not that simple, isn't it? Alara's voice cracked. Logan, I've watched you tear yourself apart trying to be there for both of us, and it's killing you. I see it. Ben sees it. Hell, everyone sees it. I can handle it. Can you? Because from where I'm standing, you're drowning, and I don't want to be the reason you drown. Logan didn't know what to say, because she was right. He was drowning, and he didn't know how to stop. I need to go, Alara said quietly. I'll talk to you later. She hung up before Logan could respond. He stood in his kitchen, staring at the phone, feeling the weight of everything crashing down around him. He'd won the case. He'd helped save lives. He'd done the right thing. But it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like he'd lost something he couldn't get back. That night, Logan couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversation with Alara over and over. She was right. He was drowning, and he couldn't keep living like this. But he also couldn't walk away. Not from Alara, not from the fight they'd started together. Around 3 a.m, Logan gave up on sleep. He got out of bed and went to the kitchen. Ben was sitting at the table in his pajamas, eating cereal. What are you doing up? Logan asked. Ben shrugged. Couldn't sleep. Logan sat beside him. Me neither. They sat in silence for a while. Then Ben said, Are you still going to leave? Logan looked at him. What? After the case is over, are you still going to leave to be with her? Logan's heart broke. Ben, I'm not leaving you, ever. But you love her. I care about her, a lot, but that doesn't mean I'm going anywhere. Ben frowned. Then what does it mean? Logan didn't have a good answer, so he just said, It means I'm trying to figure things out, and I'm doing a pretty bad job of it. Ben was quiet. Then he said, I don't hate her. Logan blinked. What? The fire lady. I don't hate her. I just hate that you're always gone. Logan pulled Ben into a hug. I know, and I'm sorry. I've been a terrible dad lately. You're not terrible. You're just confused. Logan laughed weakly. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Ben pulled back. But you gotta pick, Dad. You can't keep doing both. It's not fair to anyone. Logan stared at his son, amazed by how wise he sounded. You're right. So what are you gonna do? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out, I promise. Ben nodded. Okay. They finished their cereal in silence, and for the first time in weeks, Logan felt like maybe, just maybe, he could find a way through this. He just had to be brave enough to make the choice. Logan made his choice on a Tuesday morning. He woke up early, made Ben's favorite breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes, and drove him to school. Before Ben got out of the truck, Logan said, I'm coming to your game on Saturday, front row, I promise. Ben looked at him skeptically. What if something comes up? Nothing's going to come up. I'll be there. Ben studied his face for a long moment. Then he nodded. Okay. Okay? Okay. Ben grabbed his backpack. I love you, Dad. I love you too, buddy. After Ben disappeared into the school, Logan sat in the parking lot and stared at his phone. He had 3 missed calls from Rachel and 2 texts from Alara. The case was moving forward. There were depositions to prepare, documents to review, 100 things that needed his attention. But for the first time in months, Logan didn't feel the pull to jump in immediately. He felt something else. Clarity. He called Alara. Hey, she said. She sounded tired. We need to talk. There was a pause. That sounds ominous. Can I come by your office? When? Now. Another pause. Okay. I'll be here. Logan drove straight there. The morning traffic was thick, giving him too much time to think. He rehearsed what he wanted to say, then threw it all out. There was no script for this, no perfect way to navigate what came next. When he walked into Ilara's office, she was standing by the window, arms crossed, looking out at the city. She didn't turn around when he entered. You're here to end this, she said quietly. Logan stopped. What? Us. Whatever this is, you're here to end it. Ilara? It's okay. I understand. She finally turned to face him. Her eyes were dry, but there was a resignation in them that made Logan's chest ache. You have to choose Ben, and you should. He's your son. He comes first. Logan crossed the room until he was standing in front of her. You're right. Ben comes first. He always will, but that doesn't mean I'm walking away from you. Ilara frowned. Then what are you doing? I'm asking you to meet me halfway. Logan took a breath. I can't keep living like this, running between you and Ben, trying to be everything to everyone. It's not working, and it's not fair to anyone. I know. So here's what I'm proposing. The case is almost over. Grant's testimony locked it down. Rachel says Vanguard's lawyers are already talking settlement, so let's finish this together. And when it's done, we take a step back. We figure out what this is without the chaos, without the pressure, just us. Alara searched his face. What if there is no us without the chaos? What if we only work when we're fighting something? What if the second things get normal, we realize we don't actually fit? Logan had thought about that, late at night when he couldn't sleep. Then we'll find out. But I need to try, because I care about you too much to just walk away without knowing. Alara's eyes filled with tears. I don't know if I can do slow, Logan. I've spent my whole life moving fast, building, fighting. I don't know how to just be. Then we'll figure it out together. Logan took her hand. But I need you to understand something. Ben is my priority, always. And there will be times when I have to choose him over you, over us. And I need to know you're okay with that. Ilara was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. My whole life, I've been the person people leave. My parents died. My relationships fell apart because I worked too much or cared too little or couldn't figure out how to let people in. And then you showed up. This guy who ran into a burning building without thinking twice. Who kept showing up even when I pushed you away. Who made me believe I could be something other than alone. She wiped her eyes. And now you're telling me there will be times when you choose someone else over me. And the crazy thing is, I'm okay with that. Because that's what makes you different. You don't abandon your responsibilities. You don't run away when things get hard. You show up for the people who matter, and that includes your son. Logan felt his throat tighten. So we're doing this? We're doing this. Alara squeezed his hand, slowly, messily, however it works. Good. Logan pulled her into his arms. Because I'm not ready to give up on you yet. Alara laughed weakly against his chest. You're an idiot. Yeah, but I'm your idiot. Don't push it. They stood like that for a while, holding each other in the quiet of her office. Outside, the city hummed with morning traffic. Inside, for just a moment, everything felt still. The settlement negotiations dragged on for 3 more weeks. Vanguard's lawyers fought every point, trying to minimize the payout, trying to bury the details in legal language that would protect the company's reputation. But Rachel was relentless. She'd spent years waiting for a case like this, and she wasn't backing down. Logan attended the meetings when he could, but he kept his promise to Ben. He made it to every soccer game. He helped with homework. He cooked dinner, badly, but he tried. And slowly, Ben started to relax, started to trust that his dad wasn't going to disappear again. One night, after tucking Ben in, Logan found a note on the kitchen table. It was in Ben's handwriting, the letters big and uneven. Dad, you came to my game. You didn't forget. Thank you. Love, Ben. Logan stared at that note for a long time. It was just a few words scribbled on notebook paper, but it felt like forgiveness. Like a second chance he didn't deserve, but was grateful to have. He folded the note carefully and put it in his wallet. The settlement came through 2 weeks later. Vanguard agreed to pay $12 million to the displaced tenants, fund a 5-year housing assistance program, and submit to an independent audit of all their building inspections citywide. It wasn't everything Rachel had wanted. She'd pushed for criminal charges against the executives, but it was enough to matter. The tenants would get their lives back. Families who'd been scattered across shelters and relatives' couches would have the resources to rebuild, and Vanguard would think twice before pulling this stunt again. The press conference was packed. Rachel stood at the podium with 3 of the tenants beside her. Carmen, a single mother of 2. Marcus, an elderly man who'd lived in the same apartment for 30 years. And Diane, a teacher who'd lost everything when her building was condemned. They each told their story. The cameras captured every word. Alara stood off to the side, watching. Logan stood beside her, just out of frame. This is a victory for everyone who's ever been told their home doesn't matter, Rachel said, her voice steady and strong. For everyone who's been pushed out, silenced, or ignored. This settlement proves that corporations can't buy their way out of accountability, and it proves that when people fight back, they can win. The room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Alara leaned closer to Logan. We did it. Yeah, we did. I still can't believe it. Logan glanced at her. You should. You earned this. Alara's eyes were wet. I couldn't have done it without you. Yeah, you could have. You just would have had a harder time. She laughed. You're probably right. After the press conference, they went to dinner with Rachel and a handful of the tenants. The restaurant was loud and crowded, filled with people who'd fought hard for something that mattered. Logan sat between Ben, who'd insisted on coming, and Carmen's youngest daughter, a 6-year-old named Sophia, who kept asking him about cars. Do you fix race cars? Sophia asked, eyes wide. Not usually. Mostly regular cars, Hondas, Toyotas, sometimes a truck. That's boring, Logan laughed. Yeah, it kind of is. Ben leaned over. Dad's being humble. He's really good at what he does. He can fix anything. Sophia looked impressed. Even a spaceship? Probably not a spaceship, Logan admitted. Then what's the point? Logan had no answer for that. Alara, sitting across from him, was trying not to laugh. By the end of the night, Logan felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. He felt like he belonged. Not just in Alara's world of lawyers and press conferences and corporate battles, but in this world. The one where people fought for each other, where showing up mattered more than being perfect. When they finally left the restaurant, Alara walked Logan and Ben to the truck. Thank you for bringing him, she said, nodding toward Ben, who was already climbing into the passenger seat. He wanted to come, said it was important. It was. Alara glanced at Ben, then back at Logan. He's a good kid. Yeah, he is. Alara stepped closer and kissed Logan. It was brief, aware of Ben watching from the truck, but it was real. I'll see you this weekend? Saturday. Ben's got a game. I know. I'll be there. Logan raised an eyebrow. You're coming to a kid's soccer game? I told Ben I would. So yes. Logan felt something warm spread through his chest. Okay. Okay. He climbed into the truck. Ben was grinning at him. What? Logan asked. You like her. I do. She's okay, for a grown-up. Logan laughed. High praise. They drove home through the quiet streets. Ben fell asleep before they even made it to their neighborhood, his head tilted against the window. Logan carried him inside and tucked him into bed, careful not to wake him. When he finally collapsed onto his own bed, Logan's phone buzzed. A text from Alara. Thank you for tonight, for everything. I know this hasn't been easy. Logan typed back. It's been worth it. A moment later. Has it? Logan thought about that. He thought about the late nights and the missed games and the fights with Ben. He thought about the fear and the stress and the moments when he'd wanted to walk away from all of it. But he also thought about Carmen's face when the settlement was announced, about the families who would rebuild their lives, about Alara standing on that courthouse steps, finally vindicated. Yeah, he typed. It has. Over the next few months, things started to settle into something that almost resembled normal. Alara's company stabilized. The board stopped talking about forcing her out. Her stock price recovered slowly but steadily. She even launched a new project, a faster, more accurate version of the safety prediction system that had started all of this. This time, she built in more redundancies, more checks and balances. She wasn't going to let what happened with Grant happen again. Logan went back to working full-time at the garage. Mike gave him endless grief about disappearing for weeks, but he also gave him a raise. You're a pain in my ass, Mike said, tossing Logan a set of keys to a rebuilt Mustang. But you're good at what you do, so don't make me regret this. Logan and Alara saw each other twice a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. It wasn't perfect. There were nights when Logan wanted to see her but couldn't because Ben had a project or just needed him. And there were nights when Alara was buried in work and couldn't make time. But they made it work, slowly, imperfectly, like real people trying to build something real. Ben warmed up to Alara gradually. It wasn't instant. There were awkward dinners where nobody knew what to say. There were moments when Ben would withdraw, still testing whether Logan was really going to keep showing up. But one Saturday, Logan brought Alara to one of Ben's soccer games. She sat in the stands cheering louder than anyone else when Ben scored a goal in the second half. After the game, Ben ran over, sweaty and grinning, his uniform covered in grass stains. Did you see that? He asked. I did, Alara said. That was incredible. You completely faked out that defender. Ben's grin widened. You actually know soccer? I played in high school, badly, but I know the basics. Ben looked at Logan, then back at Alara. You can come to the next game if you want. Alara smiled. I'd like that. It wasn't a big moment. It wasn't some dramatic turning point. But it mattered, because it meant Ben was starting to let her in, starting to see that maybe Logan caring about Alara didn't mean he cared less about him. That night, after Ben went to bed, Logan sat on the porch with a beer. Alara joined him a few minutes later, carrying a glass of wine. That went well, she said. Yeah, it did. He's starting to trust me. He's starting to trust that you're not going anywhere. Alara was quiet for a moment. Are you sure I'm not? Logan looked at her. Are you? I don't know. I want to be. But I've never been good at this. At staying, at building something that lasts. Then we'll figure it out, together. Alara leaned her head on his shoulder. You say that like it's easy. It's not easy, but it's worth it. They sat in silence for a while, watching the stars come out. And for the first time in a long time, Logan felt like he could breathe. 6 months after the settlement, Rachel called Logan. I need a favor, she said. What kind of favor? I'm starting a nonprofit, housing advocacy, legal aid for tenants facing wrongful evictions. And I need people who know how to fight, people who give a damn. Logan frowned. I'm not a lawyer, Rachel. I know, but you're good at getting things done. And you care. That's more valuable than a law degree sometimes. Rachel, I've got a kid, a job, a life that's finally starting to work. I'm not asking you to quit your job, just to help part-time, a few hours a week, maybe sit on the board. Use your voice to help people who don't have one. Logan thought about it. He thought about the tenants he'd met, the families who'd been displaced, the people who'd needed someone to fight for them. "Let me talk to Ben," Logan said. That night, Logan sat down with Ben and explained the situation. "It wouldn't be like last time," Logan said. "I wouldn't be gone all the time, just a few hours a week, helping people who need it." Ben frowned. "Like Alara?" "Kind of, but different. I wouldn't be running into danger, just using my voice, showing up for people who need someone on their side." Ben was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Would you miss my games?" "Never. Games come first. Always." "And you'd still help with my homework?" "Every night." Ben nodded slowly. "Okay. You can do it." "Yeah?" "Yeah, but you have to promise you won't forget about me." Logan pulled him into a hug. "I could never forget about you, buddy. You're the most important thing in my life." "I know, but I like hearing it." Logan laughed. "Then I'll keep saying it." A year after the settlement, Alara's company launched the new safety system. It was faster, smarter, and more accurate than anything on the market. Within 6 months, 3 cities had adopted it. Within a year, it had prevented 6 major disasters, 4 fires, a gas explosion, and a structural collapse that would have killed dozens. Alara stood on a stage at a tech conference, accepting an award for innovation in public safety. Logan watched from the audience, pride swelling in his chest. Ben sat beside him, playing a game on Logan's phone, occasionally glancing up when the applause got loud. After the ceremony, they went back to Alara's apartment. She kicked off her heels and collapsed on the couch with a groan. "I hate these things," she said. Logan sat beside her. "You were great." "I was terrified the whole time." "Didn't show," Alara laughed. "You're biased." "Maybe, but I'm also right." Ben wandered over, still holding Logan's phone. "Can we get food? I'm starving." "What do you want?" Alara asked. "Pizza." "Pizza it is." While they waited for the delivery, Alara sat quietly, staring at the award on her coffee table. It was a sleek glass sculpture, expensive and meaningless in the way those things always were. "You okay?" Logan asked. "Yeah, just thinking." "About?" "About how different things are now. A year ago, I was convinced I was going to lose everything, my company, my reputation, everything I'd built." She looked at him. "And now I'm sitting here with an award and a functional relationship and a kid who tolerates me. It feels surreal." "Ben doesn't just tolerate you, he likes you." "He told you that?" "Not in those words, but yeah," Alara smiled. "That might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me." Ben looked up from the phone. "Are you guys going to get all mushy?" "Probably," Logan said. Ben groaned. "Can you at least wait until after the pizza gets here?" They all laughed. And in that moment, Logan realized something. This was his family now, messy and imperfect and nothing like he'd planned. But real, solid, worth fighting for. The pizza arrived. They ate on the couch, arguing over toppings and what movie to watch. Ben fell asleep halfway through, curled up between Logan and Alara. "We should get him home," Logan whispered. "Let him sleep for a few more minutes. He looks comfortable." Logan looked at his son, then at Alara. "I've been thinking about something." "Yeah?" "About us. About what comes next." Alara's expression shifted, guarded. "Okay? I don't need a ring. I don't need some big romantic gesture. But I need to know this is real, that we're building something that lasts." Alara stared at him. "Are you?" "I'm not proposing, not yet. But I'm saying I want to, someday. When we're ready. When Ben's ready." Logan took her hand. "I'm saying I'm all in. If you are." Alara's eyes filled with tears. "I'm terrified." "Me too. What if I screw this up? What if I go back to working 80 hours a week and forgetting to show up and being the person I was before?" "Then I'll remind you, and you'll do better, because that's what people do when they care about each other." Alara wiped her eyes. "You make it sound so simple." "It's not simple, but it's worth it." She looked at Ben, still asleep, then back at Logan. "Okay? Okay? Okay. I'm all in too." Logan kissed her, soft and slow and full of promise. 2 years after the fire, Logan stood in the backyard of a house he'd just bought. It was small, needed work, but it had a yard for Ben to play in and enough space for all of them. The mortgage was steep, but Logan and Alara were splitting it. She'd moved in 3 months ago, keeping her apartment as an office but spending most nights here. Ben was kicking a soccer ball around. Alara was sitting on the back steps, reading something on her tablet, occasionally looking up to watch Ben. Logan walked over and sat beside her. "You good?" She looked up. "Yeah, just reviewing some numbers for tomorrow's board meeting." "You ever stop working?" "Not really." Logan shook his head. "You're impossible. You knew that when you signed up." "I did." Ben ran over, breathless. "Dad, can we get a dog?" Logan blinked. "What?" "A dog. Can we get one? Please? Everyone at school has one." Logan looked at Alara. She shrugged. "Don't look at me. This is your call." "Our call," Logan corrected. Alara's eyebrows went up. "Our call?" "Yeah, you live here. You get a vote." Alara smiled. "Then I vote yes. But Ben has to walk it." "I will, I promise." Ben was practically bouncing. Logan sighed. "All right, we can get a dog, but a small one." "Yes!" Ben ran off to tell someone, probably the neighbor's kid, the good news. Alara looked at Logan. "You're a softie." "Yeah, I know." They sat in silence for a while, watching Ben run around the yard. The sun was setting, casting everything in gold. It was the kind of moment that felt too perfect to be real. But it was. "You ever think about that night?" Alara asked. "The fire?" Logan nodded. "Sometimes." "Do you regret it?" "Running in?" "Yeah." Logan thought about it. He thought about everything that had come after. The chaos, the pain, the fear, the fights, the sacrifices. But he also thought about the good, the lives saved, the people helped, the love he'd found in the most unexpected place. "No," he said finally. "I don't regret it, because it led me here, to this, and I wouldn't trade this for anything." Alara leaned her head on his shoulder. "Me neither." They sat like that until the sun disappeared completely, leaving only the glow of the porch light and the sound of Ben's laughter carrying across the yard. And Logan realized something in that quiet moment. He'd spent so much of his life running into fires, running away from pain, running towards something he couldn't name. But now, for the first time, he wasn't running. He was standing still, rooted, present. He was home. And that was everything. Logan made his choice on a Tuesday morning. He woke up early, made Ben's favorite breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes, and drove him to school. Before Ben got out of the truck, Logan said, "I'm coming to your game on Saturday. Front row. I promise." Ben looked at him skeptically. "What if something comes up?" "Nothing's going to come up. I'll be there." Ben studied his face for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Okay. Okay? Okay." Ben grabbed his backpack. "I love you, Dad." "I love you too, buddy." After Ben disappeared into the school, Logan sat in the parking lot and called Alara. "Hey," she said. She sounded tired. "We need to talk." There was a pause. "That sounds ominous. Can I come by your office?" "When?" "Now." Another pause. "Okay, I'll be here." Logan drove straight there. When he walked into Alara's office, she was standing by the window, arms crossed, looking out at the city. She didn't turn around when he entered. "You're here to end this," she said quietly. Logan stopped. "What?" "Us. Whatever this is, you're here to end it." "Alara, it's okay. I understand." She finally turned to face him. Her eyes were dry, but there was a resignation in them that made Logan's chest ache. "You have to choose Ben, and you should. He's your son. He comes first." Logan crossed the room until he was standing in front of her. "You're right. Ben comes first. He always will. But that doesn't mean I'm walking away from you." Alara frowned. "Then what are you doing?" "I'm asking you to meet me halfway." Logan took a breath. "I can't keep living like this, running between you and Ben, trying to be everything to everyone. It's not working, and it's not fair to anyone." "I know. So here's what I'm proposing. The case is almost over. Grant's testimony locked it down. Rachel says Vanguard's lawyers are already talking settlement. So let's finish this, together. And when it's done, we take a step back. We figure out what this is without the chaos. without the pressure. Just us. Alara searched his face. What if there is no us without the chaos? Then we'll find out. But I need to try, because I care about you too much to just walk away without knowing. Alara's eyes filled with tears. I don't know if I can do slow, Logan. I've spent my whole life moving fast, building, fighting. I don't know how to just be. Then we'll figure it out together. Logan took her hand. But I need you to understand something. Ben is my priority, always. And there will be times when I have to choose him over you, over us. And I need to know you're okay with that. Alara was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. I am. Because you're right. He should come first. And honestly, the fact that you're willing to fight for that makes me care about you even more. Logan felt something loosen in his chest. So we're doing this? We're doing this. Alara squeezed his hand. Slowly, messily, however it works. Good. Logan pulled her into his arms. Because I'm not ready to give up on you yet. Alara laughed weakly. You're an idiot. Yeah, but I'm your idiot. Don't push it. The settlement came through 2 weeks later. Vanguard agreed to pay $12 million to the displaced tenants, fund a housing assistance program, and submit to an independent audit of all their safety inspections. Rachel stood on the courthouse steps with 3 of the tenants beside her, cameras flashing as she read the statement. Alara stood off to the side, watching. Logan stood beside her. We did it, Alara whispered. Yeah, we did. After the press conference, they went to dinner with Rachel and some of the tenants. It was loud and chaotic, and full of people who'd fought hard for something that mattered. Logan felt out of place at first, but by the end of the night, he realized that wasn't true. He'd been part of this. He'd made a difference. When they finally left the restaurant, Alara walked Logan to his truck. You coming over tonight? She asked. Logan shook his head. Can't. Ben's got a project due tomorrow. I promised I'd help. Alara smiled. Good. Good? Yeah, good, because that's exactly what you should be doing. She stood on her toes and kissed him. But call me later? I will. Over the next few months, things started to settle. Alara's company stabilized. Logan went back to working full-time at the garage. They saw each other twice a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. It wasn't perfect, but they made it work. Slowly, imperfectly, like real people trying to build something real. Ben warmed up to Alara eventually. One Saturday, Logan brought her to one of Ben's soccer games. She sat in the stands, cheering louder than anyone else when Ben scored a goal. After the game, Ben ran over, sweaty and grinning. Did you see that? He asked. I did, Alara said. That was incredible. Ben looked at Logan, then back at Alara. You can come to the next game if you want. Alara smiled. I'd like that. It wasn't a big moment, but it mattered, because it meant Ben was starting to let her in. 6 months after the settlement, Rachel called Logan about starting a nonprofit for housing advocacy. Logan talked to Ben about it. It wouldn't be like last time, Logan said. Just a few hours a week, helping people who need it. Ben frowned. Would you miss my games? Never. Games come first. Ben nodded slowly. Okay, you can do it. A year after the settlement, Alara's company launched the new safety system. Within 6 months, 3 cities had adopted it. Within a year, it had prevented 4 major disasters. Alara stood on a stage at a tech conference, accepting an award. Logan watched from the audience, pride swelling in his chest. 2 years after the fire, Logan stood in the backyard of a house he'd just bought. It was small, needed work, but it had a yard for Ben to play in and enough space for all of them. Alara had moved in 3 months ago. Ben was kicking a soccer ball around. Alara was sitting on the back steps, reading on her tablet. Logan walked over and sat beside her. You good? Logan asked. She looked up. Yeah, just reviewing some numbers. You ever stop working? Not really. Ben ran over, breathless. Dad, can we get a dog? Logan looked at Alara. She shrugged. Don't look at me. This is your call. Our call, Logan corrected. Alara smiled. Then I vote yes. Yes! Ben ran off. They sat in silence for a while, watching the sun set. Alara leaned her head on Logan's shoulder. You ever think about that night? Alara asked. The fire? Logan nodded. Sometimes. Do you regret it? Logan thought about everything that had come after. The chaos, the pain, the fear, but also the good, the lives saved, the love he'd found in the most unexpected place. No, he said finally. I don't regret it. Alara squeezed his hand. Me neither. Logan realized something in that quiet moment. He'd spent so much of his life running into fires, running away from pain, running towards something he couldn't name. But now, for the first time, he wasn't running. He was standing still, present, home. Because heroism wasn't about running into burning buildings. It was about showing up every day for the people who mattered, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. It was about choosing love over fear, connection over isolation, presence over perfection. Logan had learned that people don't need someone perfect. They need someone who stays, someone who shows up when things fall apart, someone who chooses them again and again, even when it's messy and complicated and inconvenient. He looked at Ben laughing in the yard, at Alara beside him, finally letting her walls down, at the house they were building together, imperfect and chaotic and real. This was his life now, not the one he'd planned, not the one he'd imagined, but the one he'd fought for, the one he'd chosen, the one worth staying for. And that was everything.